All right, so we're starting off with the 0 note away perfect first. The perfect first represents the position, which is going to be the first position, even though I'm looking at the Mixolydian mode, which I'm giving an absolute numbering system of 5 because that's its relative position to the major scale. And then this 0 represents that it's 0 distance away, or it could be 12 if you're going to another octave 12 notes away around the whole circle. So in other words, this one, of course, if I took any of these strings, let's take this one in particular from the first fret to the 12th fret, and we wrapped it around in a circle, and then we started at this G as though we're on a clock, then note that I can go clockwise or counterclockwise around the clock. If it's a 12-step clock, then I will get back to the same starting point. Therefore, there is no real inverse distance when we're looking at the intervals for an octave if we're thinking about it as just getting to the same note as opposed to like taking into account like an octave up and so on, which is what we are doing here. So let's go above it. If I go above it, therefore, I don't need to worry about looking at whether it's going to be an inverse distance. When I go above it, there's a distance of 5 notes between each string, unless you're going between the B up to the G string in this case. Notice most people measure going down, but now we're going up. So the only time I go up and there's a distance of something other than 5 notes is when I go up from the B to the G string, and therefore instead of going straight up above it, I have to go diagonal to get to that 5. I'm not going to go straight up above it to get to 4 because I want to count in 5s when I jump up the strings. That's how I would typically do it. Otherwise, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to count because most people don't like counting in 4s. So we're going to say this is going to be 5 here. So then I'm going to go out to this G. Let's measure it this way. So it's going to be -5. I call it -5. And then I'm going to go back down, going this way, -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, -0. So let's go from here. So we're going to say, boom, from this G, -5, and then 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Boom, boom. So it's actually the exact same note. So if I go up one string and cross the fault line, this is the only time I would cross the fault line, then the octave is going to be 4 frets forward. That, of course, means 12 minus 4, it's 7 frets back, but I'm going to be mainly looking for the shortest, distance if I was able to go both up and back, which is why we're starting in the middle of the guitar. So what if I didn't cross the fault line? If I was down here, I wouldn't cross the fault line, and I would be right there. And if I was up above the fault line somewhere, say for here, for example, then I wouldn't cross the fault line if I go up one string. Therefore, generally, if I go up one string, the octave is going to be 5 frets forward unless I cross the fault line, which only happens if I start on the B string, in which case if I go up one string and cross the fault line, the octave is only 4 frets forward. Let's go to the next one up. Let's crank this one out. We're going to go up to the next one. Boom. So now we're going to go up here. We're looking for a distance of 12 notes to get to the next octave. It's a 12 note away distance. I'm going to go diagonal up. So this is going to be -5, -10, and 11, 12. Let's do it here. So we're going to go from this point, diagonal up, 5, 10, and then back 10, 11, 12. So boom, boom. All right. So it's an octave. Obviously, it's an octave no matter which one we measure from. If I think about that as my tonic or this as my tonic, it's 12 notes away either way. And so that means that if I go up 2 strings and cross the fault line, the octave is going to be 3 frets back. I would not cross the fault line and could still go up 2 strings if I started on this G string or this D string. Let's say we started on this G and then we went up, the shape would look like that, for example. So the general rule would be, if I go up 2 strings, then the octave is 2 frets back. Notice if I start from here to here, that's probably the most common that people see to get to an octave, but we want to be able to see it from the bottom going back up, which although we see the shape from top to bottom very clearly, many of us, we don't see it the other way around. Again, similar to the alphabet, where we know how to count one way, but we don't know how to count the other way. And there's no reason for that other than we just practice all the time going one way than the other way. We just haven't built the track in our mind to go the other way, right? It's not like someone had, like a lot of people think people have some kind of special skill. People do have special skills and they're better at seeing certain things and whatnot. But the guitar, like many things, contains a huge amount of different kind of skills. So some people might catch that on better, and some people might do other things better. But what I'm trying to get at is nobody really gets at these kind of concepts just off the bat. Like I work on this every day, right? That's why I'm building very slowly the connections to be able to see things backwards and forwards. I can't say the alphabet backwards anywhere near as fast as forwards, right? Because I don't practice doing it. If I did it every day, I think I could. It's just memorization. So we want to memorize visually and tectonically and tactilely with our fingers to see the shapes. But again, a lot of people, the reason I point this out is because a lot of people on like when you look at instructions on a YouTube or something like that, or some, the general practice is for someone to do something super cool. It's to make them look like they're some kind of genius, which maybe they are a musical genius, but that's not the point. Is that they practiced a ton, and then they show you like a 4-minute video, and like, well, you should be able to pick this up in 4 minutes. When obviously they didn't pick it up in 4 minutes. They've been practicing it their whole life, So it seems kind of deceptive. Although, I don't know, maybe that's the best way I'm not trying to pick on anyone on how they do their video. I can understand why you would do it that way, but I'm just saying you can build the memorization slowly over a long time by just doing this kind of practice. And then once you know that, then when you improvise, you will have a lot more flexibility because you've now put it in your mind. Just like when you sing the alphabet, you can sing it in a whole different ways. You can do different tempos. You can sing it. You don't have to sing it like it was on Sesame Street, like you're 5, because now you can sing it to jazz or something if you wanted to, because you know it that well, Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's go to the next one. I'm going to go up here, let's say, and so now we're going to go up to this one. The reason I picked jazz is because it has an irregular rhythm, right? So if you're trying to sing the alphabet to like a jazz tune, it'd be kind of weird, right? But you could probably do it because you know the alphabet. Okay, we get it. Move on. Okay, so we're looking for a distance of 12. This is going to be -5, -10, -15. There's only 12 notes in the musical alphabet. Let's bring it down by going 15 minus 12 is -3. And then notice that math, by the way, also might seem a little complicated. 15 minus 12, I have to do this in my head and whatnot. But it's always the same, right? I'm always going to get to 15 minus 12, which is 3. So even if I don't do math in my head that much, it's not like I'm doing a lot of math in my head, because we always end up at 15 because I'm counting in 5s, and there's only 12 notes in the musical alphabet. So it's always going to be 15 minus 12, which we start to memorize as, oh, that's 3, right? So it's not like, again, it's not a lot of math that we're trying to really understand here once you get down to it, although it could look overwhelming at the beginning. So anyways, 3, -3, -4, -5, -6. What did I do? So this is going to be 5, 10, 15, 3, -3, -2, -1, -0, or octave. That's how it should go. Let's do this. So we're going to go here, -5, -10, -15, -15, -15 minus 12 is 3, -3, 2, 1, 0. All right, and so that means that if I go up 3 strings and cross the fault line, the octave is going to be 2 frets forward. Now, there's only one time I wouldn't cross the fault line and could still go up 3 strings, and that's if I was starting on the G string. So that would be up here. So the general rule is if I go up 3 strings, the octave will be 3 frets forward unless I cross the fault line, which would happen 2 out of 3 times that I could possibly go up 3 strings. That would be on the B or the bottom E string, in which case if I go up 3 strings and cross the fault line, the octave will only be 2 frets forward. Let's go up to the top one. So now I'm on the top one up here, and notice if I'm on the top string, if I'm measuring from the 2nd string to the bottom, it would be easier to measure the bottom string because it's closer, and then the top string will be the same. So I could go below it, which means I would normally have to take the inverse distance of what I've been doing above it, but I don't here because it's 12 notes away whether I go clockwise or counterclockwise around the clock. So I'm going to say let's go 5 down below. I'm looking for a distance of 12, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That G is here, therefore the G is also up top. But let's count it up to the top, which would be -5, 10, 15. 15 minus 12 is -3. 3 plus another 5 is 8. 8, -9, -10, -11, -12. All right, so let's do that. So we're going to do it here. So -5, -10, -15. 15 minus 12 is -3, plus another 5 is going to be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So way back here. So that means if I go up 4 strings, I would always cross the fault line because there's no way I could go a distance of 4 strings unless I think about going around the top of the guitar without crossing the fault line. Therefore, when I go up 4 strings, I will cross the fault line and the octave will always be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets back. If I go below it, we already kind of measured this out. I don't have to take an inverse distance or anything. It's still 12 notes away. Now, there is only a distance of 5 right below it because I'm not crossing the fault line. Remembering this fault line shifts up, so there's only a 4-note distance between these two. Therefore, I can go straight underneath it and say that's going to be a distance of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So it's going to be right there. So we're going to say this is going to be -5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Boom, boom. Same note. So that means that if I go below, if I go 1 string down, the octave will be 5 frets back unless I cross the fault line, which would only happen on the G string if I'm going down, which would be here. So if I started on that G string, then it would be this destination point got shifted forward closer distance. Therefore, the rule is if I go down 1 string, the octave will be 5 frets back unless I cross the fault line, which only happens on the G string, in which case if I go down 1 string and cross the fault line, the octave will only be 4 frets back. All right, so let's move on. I won't do another joke because that was a long joke. So let's just do the next one.